This lesson is about the medical provider's chart. I know I sound like a broken record, but I encourage you to finish your previous assignment before you start watching this one. This helps to keep things from being too overwhelming. So, why is a provider chart helpful? You need to develop an excellent team blank. So, my dad had a team dad. I've had clients where I say, hey, we need a team Millie. One time, a doctor saw my dad's chart when we were at an appointment, and he was like, wow, that's a really impressive team of doctors. And I said, yeah, we've developed it over years. Sometimes it takes time to find the right one, but you need to take some time to develop a good team. And having all that information in one place is pretty important. How is this lesson going to help you? Well, there's two ways I find it helps. One is when you find yourself making a bunch of appointments at the same time for your loved one, which does happen, I'm sure, you have all the information right there. And sometimes those providers need another provider's name and number for referrals or for whatever else might come up. It's all right there. Secondly, whenever you fill out paperwork at any appointment, they ask you for this information. What pharmacy do you use? What's the pharmacy's name and address? Who's your primary care provider? What's their name and address? What's their phone number? What's their fax number? When you have it all there, it helps tremendously. The amount of professionals that you work with can be overwhelming, especially if your loved one has a serious condition or is aging. Medicine stopped being a nonprofit organization and became a business. Medicine also became specialized. So your primary doctor is no longer the one person that you work with. You may find that you have a pain specialist, a Parkinson's specialist, and all kinds of other people who make up your medical team. That is why you, as the caregiver, must be the umbrella that keeps it all together for your person. Let's take a look at the chart. You don't have to do this on a computer, but there is an advantage to using one if you can. And that's because this is a document that's going to change often. The goal is to make things as organized as they can be for you so that you have less stress, so that things are faster and simpler for you when you need information. So the columns are the name, which is the doctor's name or the facility, and the type. You might already know that sometimes there are so many different providers on your team that it's hard to keep them all straight. So this is where you put the primary, the pain doctor, the Parkinson's doctor, etc. Phone and fax is important. Even if you don't fax, doctors and facilities do, and they often exchange information. So it's really nice to have that handy. The contact name is the person that becomes your person. I believe that even the most frustrating facility usually has that one person that's going to help you. They're the person that goes the extra mile. They're the person that says, I'm going to find out for you, and then they actually do. That person's golden, and you don't want to lose contact with that person. Once I find that person, I ask for them every time. I build a rapport and relationship with them. The last column is extremely important, and that's to make sure that you have a HIPAA release signed at every single medical place you go to. This is super important, and you probably will have to initiate this conversation wherever you go. You should have a HIPAA release signed for the healthcare proxy, for the caregiver, and anyone else that you want to be able to call and make appointments or get information for. The other thing is, if there's a termination date on the form, you want to say that it's good until revoked. That way you won't have to sign a new release every year. Don't wait to get this done. You never know when this is going to be necessary. So this is really, really key. So anytime you find yourself needing information or needing to have a phone number or an address, add it to the chart so that you have it for the next time. So there may be things that you aren't thinking about, like pharmacy, equipment places, that kind of thing. So just keep adding to it as you learn what you need. This is going to be a helpful document for you down the road as well. After your person is deceased, you will want to inform the doctors and return equipment that you need. And it's good to have the information there. One of the most common things that caregivers worry about is, what if something happens to them? Who is going to care for their loved one? This chart will help to ease your mind a bit about that. Because if you have people lined up and you have your notebook together, it's going to be a lot easier to find assistance. You're going to find out in this program that self-care is extremely important in order for you to keep doing what you're doing. So you need to build your village, and this is how you're going to do it. I know it's another big assignment, but I promise it's worth every minute you spend on it. When people ask if they can help, or if you know people that you think would be able to help, you put their name and phone number here, and then type is what kinds of things they can help with. Sometimes people can provide actual care. Sometimes they can keep your loved one company. Maybe they can do laundry, go shopping, walk your dog, mow your lawn, shovel your driveway. It doesn't matter what type of care they can offer you, what kind of help. You are only limited by your imagination with this one. Availability is important to you to have on your chart so that you know maybe they're only available on weekends or only certain mornings, but you should have that information. And then there's a column for last used, the last time they came to help you out. So that way you're not going to burn anyone out if you have, hopefully, a list of several people who can give you a hand. This is really important, and it's really going to help ease your mind. Okay, now I added that, but you have your homework to do. You will find that I have a copy of this chart also for former medical providers. I found that you don't want to reinvent the wheel because sometimes issues will circle around. For example, my dad had some heart issues at one point where he needed to be monitored. Then he didn't have any heart issues for 6 or 7 years. Then in his last year of his life, he needed a pacemaker. It was really helpful to go back and find all of the information very handy for using the same heart person because we were very happy with him. So you never know when things are going to come around again. So here is your next assignment. Get your chart started. Add to it as you come across things. And every time you go to an appointment, get those HIPAA releases signed. That's super important. Next module is on medications. Good luck.